In our latest edition of What the F Are We Doing Now? I'd like to talk about our current cycle that we're just starting this week. First thing, I'm going to call this our post-summer cycle. So we're just wrapping up, or we just wrapped up our summer cycle. This will be post-summer and kind of moving into that fall term, where we're about 7 months away from the Open, I think. So first things first is our warm-up. We're going to change that. We've been doing a lot of like skill-based and very specific type warm-ups according to what we've been doing in the strength stuff and working on different skills that we're able to throw in warm-ups that are, you know, they're still doing a good job of getting you warmed up, but they're also practicing different skills. We're going to move from that into more of a dynamic stuff, as I used to call it, or we still call it in our class settings. So what we're going to do is we'll spend a minute or two just getting overall blood flow going, and then doing some range of motion type dynamic movements to improve range of motion, to improve agility, which I'm going to, loosely call agility as far as most of us as being adults. We're not trying to do footwork drills or anything like that. We're just trying to move better through a full range of motion in our daily lives. And our proprioception is just being able to move in different planes of motion efficiently and effectively without losing balance, and just training those patterns better. So that'll be what our warm-ups are going to look like. I'm going to vary them as much as I can. There's a lot of great stuff that will probably stay in there the whole time, but I'll try and vary it from week to week so it doesn't get too boring. This strength cycle is going to focus on the intensity and upping our 1 rep max lifts. Most of our cycles in a roundabout way are going to focus on that, but this is going to be much more directed towards that. So through summer, through late spring and summer, we've been doing a lot of volume with less intensity, or at least volume without focusing on intensity. So volume, as I've mentioned before in videos, is more reps, and intensity is more weight relative to your 1 rep max. So like high volume, that's an arrow, volume is like sets of 10, 12, 14 sets of high intensity is high percentages of 85 to 100%, I guess. And those sets are 5 to 1, or 1 to 5, I guess would be maybe a better way to write that. But I think you get the point. These will be higher in volume. We're going to accumulate some volume as we get started. I think most of you, we just started this in this video, so this video is a couple days late as far as getting the cycle started. A lot of us are pretty sore from Monday. That was a higher intensity at a relatively high volume. So as we get started, we'll build volume even at a relatively high intensity and then taper the reps down, keeping that intensity higher and higher and higher and higher. In this cycle that we're going to do is going to be extremely effective. Generally, when we run something like this, it's pretty common to see increases of front and back squat of 25, 30, sometimes even more than that pounds. So I'm excited for it. I love these. We'll be doing a lot of every minute on the minute, or every 2 minutes, or every 3 minutes type work. So it's very scheduled, which is nice for us coaches because we can see what's going on, make sure people are doing appropriate weight, adding weight through the sets, and it keeps everybody on task doing the correct amount of rest through those sets. So function is generally, most of us are we usually will cycle through movements. So we'll do like back squat, pull up, plank, for example. We're going to be doing specifically that movement and that movement only, then moving on to the next one. So it'll be a lot of A, back squat, 4 or 5 sets of back squats, then B, 3 to 5 sets of pull-ups, and then C, you'll be conditioning, for example. So that allows us to then focus on that movement, take a good long rest, hit that movement again, and then start on the next movement and do the same thing. We'll be trying to increase our 1 rep max in back squat, front squat, clean, snatches, bench, shoulder press, and a couple more, mostly like pretty fundamental type movements: squat, bend, push, pull, and a couple we'll be doing, depending on what group you're in, you'll be doing things like power snatch, from the ground. These will be snatch, power snatch, power clean from the ground, split jerks for sport and performance as well. And we'll be increasing our strength endurance in pull-ups, handstand push-ups, and muscle-ups. So the gymnastics type work, we'll be trying to increase the maximum number that you can do. So less on like the weighted pull-ups like we've been doing, and more on density and increasing the. So if you can do 5, you know, hopefully by the end of this you're doing 8, 10, whatever, something like that. So these will be these compound, or I'm sorry, the like absolute strength, traditional absolute strength type lifts will be done every 2 or every 3 minutes, allowing you to have plenty of rest and be able to increase weight every single time. The gymnastics work, as far as the strength endurance, is going to be much less. So like every minute, we'll be doing a movement, and then we'll keep upping that like 1 rep per week. So right now we started like real low, like 50% of your max set every minute. Next week we'll bump it up just 1 more rep, 2 more reps, 3 more reps from the start, and keeping that rest low. That allows your body to continue to try and adapt in that short window, so you're doing a lot of work in a short amount of time. Hopefully that made sense. As far as what movements we're going to be working on, sport and performance are going to be doing snatch pulls, power snatches, and snatches in either, depending on which group you're in, either a complex or by themselves. But these all 3 movements should, and for that matter, I'll talk about the cleans at the same time. So clean lift off, clean deadlift, power cleans, they should be all the same or related to each other. So when you're doing a snatch pull, it should be the exact same pull as your power snatch. Your power snatch should be the exact same thing as a snatch, except for you catch it lower. So as you move through these, or as you work on these, you should be making contact in the same exact spots, catching the same, or at least having the same mechanics and catching lower in these. And same with the clean lift off, clean deadlift, and power clean. This should be, you should pull the bar to your knee, be able to pull that all the way up to your hips, and then finish the movement in the exact same way every single time. So for these, at least, the percentage will be a little bit lower. So not quite as high intensity as some of the other stuff, but working on perfect mechanics. We've been doing a lot of hang work, and now we're going to start moving to the ground, and I've recognized how much we need to work on the pulls and getting that bar to your knees, since most of the time we've been lifting from above the knee. So I want to get those totally dialed in, and I'm excited to see what people are able to pull off once we get that managed. All groups will be doing push presses, shoulder presses in some capacity. Again, these will be sets of like 5 and below, except for the function group, which is doing more like 5 to 8, maybe even 10. But yeah, these are going to taper down from 5 to 1 through the weeks. If you've ever done a 5-3-1 cycle, which is you'll do sets of 5 one week, sets of 3 the following, and sets of 5, 3, and 1 on the final week. We've done that before a long time ago. We'll do these in that same fashion. We'll do shoulder press, bench press. I believe that's actually it. Those 2 will be in that format if you're curious. The back squat, front squat, like I talked about a little bit, we'll be doing somewhat of a hatch. And these things are all, maybe you don't have any idea what I'm talking about right now, but a hatch cycle, which will start at 10s, 8s, and 6s, and then taper its way down to 1s, and it's pretty tough. So you're going to expect to be pretty sore in your legs, pretty tired. Make sure you're eating appropriately, getting your proper protein intakes in. Function on that note, to jump over here, and I recognize I'm jumping around, sorry. Function's going to keep reps pretty high most of the time. So they're like, for example, this week, sport performance did 10, 8, 6, 4. Function did all 10s. It'll look similar. It'll start kind of in that same window. If sport performance are doing, 8, 6, 4, 2, they'll probably be doing sets of 8 or 6. So a little bit higher in volume to work on practice and good volume accumulation and good fundamentals while they're doing more intensity. So we're going to start reintroducing split jerks for both groups. Well, the sport's been doing split jerks, but just the one, we're going to do your dominant side only, which most of you I'm sure will celebrate. Performance will bring these back, which we haven't done in a little while, so we'll work a bit on some footwork stuff, which I've recognized is lacking on a lot of people, so we'll get some drills introduced for that. While they're doing split jerks, Function's going to do some higher volume in shoulder presses. Sport and Performance is doing bench press in that 5-3-1. Function's going to get some weighted push-ups going on. Weighted. For skill days, which Wednesday, Thursdays are going to have a bit of a skill component, as well as the longer conditioning, which we've been doing for quite a bit now. Those skills are going to be handstand walking, pistols, muscle up density work. For performance, kipping, pull-ups, handstand push-ups, and pistols. For function, it'll be bear crawls, step ups, and pull ups as well for the skill days. What else? What did I miss? Anything important? No, I feel like I've gone a little rambly for a little while. So, last thing. So cooldowns. So the warm-ups change and the cooldowns posted on the board. It's going to be the same for a little while. That's very specific. It's going to be a good all-around, again, focusing on range of motion and good cooldown and good recovery techniques. It'll be a nice full body foam roll, and then some specific stretches over some things that we're noticing that people are lacking in, especially shoulder mobility, ankle mobility, and hip mobility. So that's on the board. I highly encourage. I know I put a lot into an hour class, and we usually run wire to wire, but just sticking around for an extra 10 minutes every day will help you tremendously in the long run. So my last point would be on that cool down is to just really try and stick to that. And as coaches, I know I need to be better about highly encouraging people to do that as well. So we'll be trying to harp on you as nice as we can about trying to keep that in your program. Questions or comments, please comment on the page or shoot me an email if it's something you want to talk about directly. Thanks.